Jackie, Jackie O, Jackie Baker. How
Jen.
you doing?
All right. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
Good to
Typical
hear.
day in the life. Um, can I tell you that like raising adult children, 17-year-old and 22-year-olds is a pain in the butt? It is hard. It
It's
is
very hard.
so hard.
Very.
For those that are listening, if you have older children, like you know what we're talking about. You know what we're talking about.
Yep.
It was easier when they were little.
I would
It's
go
easier,
back in a
right?
heartbeat. Yep. Yep.
Man, sometimes it's like, you feel like you're like somebody's holding a stick and you're like, and they have like a little bait at the end of it, and you're almost there. And you're almost there and you're grabbing for it, you're grabbing for it, you're grabbing for it, and you almost get it, and then they yank it away.
Mm-hmm.
That's what raising teenagers, adult children are like. Just
Yes.
when you think everything's like nice and calm
Everything's good.
and everything's good, and then you're like, wait, I don't know how to do this.
Every
I
day.
thought I knew how to do this. I don't know how to do this.
That's my life every day. But it's all good. It's all good. It's what we're here for. We're good
So,
moms. We do what we
words of
can.
encouragement for our younger viewers
Yes.
who are maybe have young children or maybe will have children someday that treasure those moments. Oh man, but you know what we do know how to do? Yeah, we know how to do. We know what to do.
I know.
Let's get into it.
Yes.
Get into some Reddit real estate disasters. Oh my lordy.
Yeah.
Hey, is
another
that
crazy day.
are you getting any weather down there with that hurricane coming?
We
You
have
getting
rain
any you're not
today.
getting any weather, right?
Well, we're not getting anything like from the we have rain today, but the rest of the weekend, the end of tomorrow into the weekend, it's supposed to be nice. Yeah.
Yeah, same.
Um,
Same. Because I
yeah.
think it's gonna like those poor people on the west
Oh
coast of
my
Florida are
God.
gonna they're getting hammered.
Our
Hammered.
uh, our good friends, their daughter goes to school down there in Florida, and she had to it's her freshman year of college, and here she is in school like a month, and then she's got to evacuate for hurricane. So yeah,
Oh
good
Lord.
times.
I
Yeah,
can't
but a
even
little
imagine.
little nerve wracking. So Jen, I want to put a PSA out to
Yeah?
our audience. So, the quick story that I had today, I was on the phone with one of the attorneys. Well, she's working on this one deal I have right now, and she, unfortunately, in her office, she's one of her clients, um, yeah, was a victim of wire fraud. So,
Oh,
oh yeah. So I want to put a PSA out
yikes.
there to people. If you're in the middle of if you're doing a real estate transaction, if you get emails, like, so your attorney's emails should say, like, this attorney, her email always says under her signature, do not, I will never send you wire instructions. We will not send wire instructions via email, whatever. If you are going to be sending a wire, please contact our office, right? So what happened
Yes.
was hackers got in to the client's email. So the client dropped a check off, $75,000 deposit. And
Yep.
then the next day, she gets an email from the client saying, "Can you void that check?" Because I guess he saw the conversation. The hacker saw the email conversation. "I'll drop the deposit check off to you today." Blah blah blah. So now the guy
Oh
drops a
boy.
check off. Now the attorney gets an email from the guy saying, "Can you void that check? Can you void the check? We're gonna take money from a different account and use a bank check or whatever." And she was like, "Oh, okay, fine." Thought nothing of it. And he gets an email from her end giving him instructions saying, "Well, why don't you just wire it?" or something along those lines, encouraging him to wire the
Yep.
money. He didn't read the bottom of her email saying, "We will never ask for
Oh
wire instructions."
gosh.
Guess what he did? He wired
Yep.
he wired it and didn't even contact, um, didn't even contact the attorney to say, "Hey, I got your email. I wired you money." He just sent it. And so
Oh,
now, like, yeah, so now the guy's out this money, the FBI is involved, all the things. So anyway, just want to had to share this story because this is rampant. I've been hearing of this a lot where these
mhm.
scammers are getting into accessing your emails and getting you to wire money. I heard this a couple months ago. Within Coldwell Bankers, somebody had wired over $200,000 to a scammer,
Yep.
thinking it was going to the attorney. So, little PSA,
Yeah,
don't go
no,
wiring
that's
money. Yeah.
don't yeah, well, it's not even so much wiring money. Be careful who you wire money
Require
to.
right,
Like, right?
confirm who you're wiring to, right? Just make sure
And
it's
don't
going to the right person, and you get the instructions over the phone. You don't you that's not
correct,
coming through the email. Can't do that.
correct,
Yeah,
correct,
so anyway.
correct. Yeah, I literally had, I had a closing this week with some folks that,
Ooh,
were bringing up they
congrats.
were paying cash, so they had a pretty sizable amount of money,
Yep.
and, and they're very, very astute, very, on top of things, details, all the things, and, you know, they're coming from out of state to buy this property, and I told them specifically, I says, "Okay, they're" I says, "How are you getting the money? Bring a check." "Oh, I'm gonna wire it." "Okay, great." I said, not, do not give any Social Security numbers, bank account numbers, checking account numbers,
Yep.
anything via the email." And they're like, "Oh," and then I told them, "Oh." So the
Mhm.
attorney, emailed them the form, right,
Right.
um, of what to sign and so forth, and they signed the form, sent it back with it blank. And then I told them to call the paralegal and have the paralegal write in the information over the phone. You do
Mhm.
not fill it out with the account numbers, everything else, and then email it back to the attorney. Do not
Right.
do it. You do
Right.
not need there have been, um, I have that's happened in my town. As a matter It has not happened to any of my clients, but it has absolutely happened, in my
Mhm.
town, in
Yeah.
Plymouth as well. And even the most secure emails. These hackers are very, 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 they know how to get in there. They know how to get through
Oh,
the
oh,
web of all
yes.
things, you know what I
They
mean? Like,
very
even the
savvy.
most
They know
secure
what they're doing. Yep. Yeah.
exactly, and it's
Yep.
almost like you gotta do multiple emails. Like, it's like,
Mm.
if you're gonna send information, you send, if they wanna send if the attorney wants to send me a password or something like that, it's like they send it to me on an entirely different email address.
Mhm.
Right? Like, it's just because you can't trust
Yep.
anybody, and here's the thing, they're not guaranteed to get that money back. Like, the FBI
Oh,
will
oh, yeah.
try, but
Yeah.
they may not see that money ever again.
Nope. I know. It's
I know
that's
a local attorney in our town had that, and it was like $300,000, and the people were out. Like, they got some money back,
wow.
but they were out it was like
That's
maybe
so
like
sad.
75,000. It was a small
That's so
amount compared
sad.
to the 300 that they had that was stolen from them. So,
Uh,
great advice, Jackie.
well, hey,
Way to start off the live stream.
just wanted
Live
to
stream? What are we doing again? The
we're doing a
podcast.
podcast on
What a
podcasts. Come
whatever
on.
this thing is. Where are we again?
Where are we? What day is
What
this?
day of the week?
All
I don't
right.
even know. What planet are
So,
we on?
I got some good stories for you, Miss Jen.
I don't know I don't know what dimension I'm
Yeah.
in.
I don't know either.
Actually, you know what that's actually, that little PSA there,
Yeah.
the more you know.
The more you know. The more you know. See, I think this is how we should
Yeah.
start the podcast off from now on. We do a little more you know.
I
The more you know segment.
Yeah? I
Yeah.
think so. I think we
I
need to
do
do a
too.
poll. We should
Okay,
do a
we
poll on the
should.
podcast.
No, but
Yeah.
look, it's just
We'll
to
ask
further
it'll
educate
be a poll of 3 listeners. We'll
what
ask
you
all of
know.
our 3 listeners what
That's
they
okay.
think.
They'll answer us too. They'll tell us what they think.
Hey, they each carry 33% of the weight of how we run the show because there's only 3 of them. They carry a lot of
You're
power.
not wrong. You're not wrong.
Might
Oh my
as well with
word.
the podcast. What you got there, Baker?
All
What you
right.
got?
I got a few here. Okay. Here we go. So this is the title of this is Am I in the Wrong? So this is a real estate agent story, bad agent story. Okay. It's our favorite topics.
Oh
Okay.
boy.
All right. I had a family friend who was also a real estate agent helping me find homes for a few years. They were awful. He kept pushing us towards homes that were way over budget and never had time for homes we liked that were in our budget. We lost out on two homes that dropped in price because he didn't watch the prices on them and they were under contract by the time we knew that they were in our budget. He did help with two contracts for other homes where the deals ended up falling through, including one where he tried to get us to file illegal paperwork to help the deal go through, and we didn't feel comfortable. We ended up buying a house that he never showed us, and he was never involved with the process at all. You ready, Jen? Now he is
Yep.
suing us for the commission on the home we bought. He's also asking for
Okay.
more than double the actual commission. Can he do this to us? I know he did work for us, but he was always lazy and we ended up having to find all the homes we liked ourselves. He was also clear he was also clearly greedy by only doing work for the homes that were outside our price range. We never complained because he was a friend, but now that he's suing us, I am beyond pissed. Yeah. So, edit for important info I forgot to add. He sent a demand letter. He isn't actively suing us yet. Also, we never signed any contract with him.
Yeah.
I knew
Okay.
you'd appreciate that.
Okay.
Okay. What do you have on your deck there? What sound effect do we have for this one? Because this is
Oh God. This is like that's what I think about that. What a joke. What
it
a
is a
joke.
are you serious? Yeah,
Oh
really?
my God, what an idiot.
What a
Okay, this
moron.
is this is easy pickings, man. This is or maybe
God. I I read this. I'm reading this. I'm like,
what it
this
okay, so
oh my
she needs
God.
to say to her air quote friend, hit the road, Jack.
That's not a
Don't let the
friend.
door hit you on the way out. Like, good luck with that. Okay, number one, even if they did have a buyer agency agreement, okay,
Right.
it is an uphill battle for a buyer agent to win that battle in court because
Mhm.
at the end of the day, it's going to come down to did the buyer fulfill their responsibility in representation? And a good attorney on the other side is going to rip him to shreds.
Yep.
So the buyer agent will be out money because he's going to have to reach in, even his, yes, agents under their broker, right? Agents
Mhm.
work under a broker. The broker
Yep.
supplies errors and omissions insurance, which is insurance that protects the agency against any wrongdoings of the agent or anyone that might sue them. But there's a deductible on that E&O. There's a
Mhm.
deductible, could be 1,500, 3,000, $5,000, and the agency's not paying the deductible, the agent is. And that is just to get the ball rolling.
Yep.
Okay, just to get the ball rolling. So the
Yep.
agent sending a letter is a scare tactic. That's all it is. He's
Exactly.
never taken you to court. He
He
is
doesn't have a
never
leg to
gonna sue
stand
you.
on.
He's
No,
never gonna
he
spend the money because he's gonna lose. He
yep.
will lose.
Yep.
Okay?
Oh,
So
million
if and
percent.
that's if he had a contract. He didn't you didn't sign anything and now you got an agent to man letter? Uh
No.
go to hell. Like, you have
Exactly.
literally, I never agreed to hire you. I feel bullied by you. That's all
Yeah.
a consumer has to
I
say,
would be you know
you
what?
know?
I'd be hiring a lawyer, sending a letter back saying, "Stop harassing me." Like,
Yeah,
just
thank you.
I
Thank
that
you.
this
Yeah,
is
that's you
so
know what? Oh, that's good, Jackie Baker. I like that idea.
well,
I would totally see if I
I
could get,
would.
like, get a, okay. So if that buyer who said they hired another agent, right?
Well,
That
they just said
new
they
agent
fired wait, did they
you s
bought but
did
sent
you
they
say
ended
they
up buying
hired
the
another
house, they never showed us, so they didn't say if they had another agent, but I'm assuming that they did have an agent, but
okay. So hopefully this is I mean, this is the way I see it playing out in my head that if they had another agent and maybe hopefully that agent was better than the first agent, and that agent had, you know, a relationship with a real estate attorney,
Mm,
like I have a relationship with a real estate attorney in town, and I can call that real estate attorney
yep.
and ask for a favor, be like, "Hey, can you just write up this little quick letter
Mhm.
for these people?"
Yep.
And basically have it on attorney letterhead
Yep.
and be like, "Yeah, so my client has the intention of filing a defamation, of filing harassment, of filing whatever,
Yeah.
and asks you to cease and desist."
Yep.
They're gonna go away. They're gonna go away.
So I
Doesn't
wanted
follow.
to add to this also. You and I have discussed this before about this is what happens not all the time, but sometimes when you're using a friend or a friend of the family that's a real estate agent or a family member
Oh,
that's a real
amen,
estate
Jackie.
agent, right?
Yep.
So don't think, like they're saying this guy was lazy. He only wanted to show them houses outside of their budget. And then they were in a tough they were backed in a corner because they said they felt bad. They never complained because he was a friend, right? So you've always said that too. It's like when you have a family member or friend working for you, it's kind of hard to call them out if you're not happy with
Well,
their service, right? So not all the
yes,
time, but
and
sometimes. So that was the case
correct.
here. But now the guy turned around, he's like messing with them, saying, "I'm going to sue you for that commission." Uh, that was never a friend. That was all. It was
That was never
transactional
a
to
friend.
him. He just wanted the
I
deal.
swear to God,
So
Jackie, if you ever do that to me, I swear to God. I swear to God. I swear to
swear to
God.
God.
They would
Uh,
no, this guy was never a friend. He was a
no,
slime
it's
ball.
never a
He
friend.
was a
That's not a
slime ball that
friend.
took advantage of them, and,
Oh my
you
god.
know we talk about this all the time about the fact that, when you hire a real estate agent, it's, you and I think that is gonna be, if we can if, with the way things are different now, with the way for the time being, things are different with buyer agency, and you have to get a buyer agent contract and all the things.
Right.
The one thing that the impact that it's having on the consumer, I think is good. I think it's the awareness that they need to take responsibility for who they're working with. Like, it's truly, they're not there just opening doors.
Mhm.
They're not just there opening doors. This is
Yep.
somebody that if you get they're all the crappy ass agent who gives you bad advice, who doesn't negotiate for you, who doesn't care about the home inspection and shows up at the close and get the check, is gonna get paid the same amount as an agent that would bend over backwards for you.
Yep.
Bend over backwards. That would take, make sure that you're not making, bad mistakes. Make sure that you're not buying something you really shouldn't be buying. Making sure that you don't get wrapped up in the emotion of the whole
Mhm.
process.
Yep.
Go to bat for you if you have an asshole who's a jerk and you
Yep.
need some heavy negotiation. The seller all of a sudden becomes a total jerk and is pushing back. A good negotiator is going to push back on your behalf, right? Home inspection, make sure that you're not being taken advantage of a bad home inspector, all those
Yep.
things. That agent gets paid the same. So
Mhm.
interview these people as, because of the fact that you hopefully, well, and here's the other thing, a good agent is going to make sure that that buyer agent fee is negotiated into the contract, is gonna do the best they can do, and most of them will be successful in negotiating that in. A buyer agent doesn't care. An 80% agent, as we call them, a crappy one, they're not gonna
Mhm.
care.
Mhm.
They're gonna try to negotiate in, but at the end of the day, they're still getting paid.
Right.
So what do they care? They don't care. So
That's
you
right.
gotta interview people. You gotta interview, and I think
Absolutely.
that's the light that this whole the changes have highlighted for
Yep.
sure.
Yep. So,
Neighbors.
all right. Thought that was a good one to
Um,
start to kick this week off with. That was a
wow,
yeah.
good
Okay.
lord. It's
Right?
like, "Oh, yeah, I love to do this thing. I'm gonna do a really crappy job, and then I'm gonna sue you, for not doing it." It's like,
Just
"Wait, what? Wait,
the nerve of the guy. That's
oh,
I'm like, are you are you freaking for real right now? I
you're
just
hilarious. I would be like, "Dude, you're hilarious." That's the
yeah,
funny you should do stand up. You should totally do
right?
stand up because that's the funniest joke I've ever heard. right?
Seriously. I just what do I always say, Jen? I can't with these
Yeah, you
people.
do say that. It's
I
going on your
do.
gravestone.
My lines, my tagline, I can't. All
I
right,
just I just
go on to
can't.
the next
Yep.
one. This is
Yes.
another good one. You ready for this? Okay.
Yep.
Seller signed addendum stating they would replace roof, now refusing 3 days before closing. Here we go.
Mm.
Uh,
Well, wait,
inspection.
well, oh, wait.
What? Thank you. That's what I was waiting for. Okay.
I had to get to it for a second.
Okay.
I get like the little sound effects are starting to they're starting to stack up here. I might have to
Yeah,
get a
you gotta
word,
come on. Gotta be
little
quicker
switcher
than that,
thingy.
Jen. All right.
Was that remember that? There was that thing like it was like the Bernie Sanders like in 2016 with the guy with the fishing hat. Do you remember that meme? The guy with the fishing hat and the fishing pole,
Yeah, with the dollar. It's from the commercial.
you gotta be
Yeah.
quicker than that.
Oh, you gotta be quicker than that. Yeah. You gotta be quicker than that.
And it
It was a
wasn't, I think it was
commercial. It was like an
it was
insurance
a
commercial.
commercial, and then it became like a whole what a whole Bernie Sanders that everybody was making memes and making fun of that guy so bad.
So funny.
Anyways, it
All
was
right.
funny. Gotta be quicker than that.
Gotta be quicker.
Good
Okay.
lord.
Here we
Okay,
go.
tell
So
us the
seller
story.
seller signed addendum stating they would replace the roof, now refusing 3 days before closing. Okay. Inspection revealed that the roof needed to be replaced. We asked for a $5,000 credit at closing towards that and a few other repairs that needed to take place. The seller came back with a basic offer stating seller will replace roof using a licensed contractor at their cost before settlement. It is now 3 days before closing, and my agent just informed me that because the seller can't get the roof fully covered under his insurance policy, he wants us to pay for half. Apparently, he is very angry about the whole situation. I feel that this is just ridiculous and that he should be angry at himself. We are pushing for full cost of the roof, $6,000. This it's a townhome. As a concession, I'm sorry, they're asking for $6,000 as a concession and are really hoping selling isn't delayed as it will cost us financially plus all of the time and effort getting ready for our impending move. We have been clear to close since last week, by the way. What are your thoughts? Um, okay, so they didn't update. He did agree to pay the full amount exactly 48 hours before closing. So, but here's the thing, like, going back to the original the story, him refusing that because of his insurance, um, that's just dumb. Like,
Mhm.
what was that guy thinking? To be
Well,
He
he
signed a
he
contract
was
stating that I will do this. I'm going to fix this. You're in breach of
right.
contract. So, yeah.
Yeah. This is yeah, okay. So, it does,
I I can't. I can't.
that's like saying, "You know what? I'm gonna order this prime rib in a restaurant, and I have a coupon, but if I'm gonna just, assume that they're gonna take the coupon. I'll just assume." And then you get to the end of the meal, and they're like, "Yeah, no, we're not taking this coupon. It's not applicable in this particular location." "Well,
Right.
I'm not paying for it then."
Yeah.
"Wait, what?"
Yeah.
"Excuse me, sir, you ate the prime rib. Don't care if you don't have the
Exactly.
coupon. You're paying
Not our
for the prime
problem.
rib." It's like, it's not our problem.
Yep.
It's not our problem. What is going on with society, Jackie?
Yeah.
What is wrong with society that people think that, you know, it's like, "Well, how do I do this so there's no pain for me?
Right.
My fault that the roof is leaking, needs to be replaced. That's my house, my
Yeah.
townhouse. I own it, but I don't wanna have to do anything. I don't
Yeah.
feel like I have to do anything, so how do I do it so that it doesn't it's like, dude, how about you just accept the responsibility that real estate values have gone up substantially over the
Mhm.
last 5 years, 45 4 especially last 4 years,
Yep.
and even if you only owned it for a year and a half, you're still making a lot more money than you would normally make
Mhm.
on the house. So how
Right.
about you be happy about that, number 1, and number 2, it's your damn house. You're
Mhm.
responsible for your own damn house. I don't
Exactly.
know. It's just wow. I so as far as this is concerned, this gets a little this makes me super uncomfortable from a very pragmatic standpoint. And I'll tell you why, is because
Okay.
if the seller dug their heels in and said, absolutely not, I'm not going to do it, right? They were told a jerk, they're totally not going to pay it. I'm not going to pay it. If they want it, they can take the house as is. I
Yeah.
don't care. Well, the buyer will do what? Because the buyer he is in breach of contract. He is absolutely in breach of contract at that point. He is in the
Yeah.
wrong.
Yep.
But what are you going to do about it? The buyer at that point, their only option is to number 1, delay the closing, which is gonna cost them money. Number
Mhm.
2, take them to court, which is gonna cost them money,
Mhm.
okay? Which basically means the very real outcome if the seller dug their heels in would be that the buyer is screwed. The buyer is screwed. The buyer is gonna have
Yeah.
to either pay for it or walk away, and walking away costs them, either
It's
way, it's gonna cost them money,
it's
and
costing
taking
the
them to
money
court
no matter
and
what the outcome.
and good
Yep.
luck trying to get money at court. Good luck, because
Oh, yeah.
that will end up costing you more money than you'll spend to take them to court. So they're kinda this situation, and I have had situations like this where all of a sudden you have a seller that is, uh, unreasonable. And you do the best you can, and you don't try to you hand them with kid gloves, and you just
Mhm.
try to, don't try to force anything, and try to very hopefully, if the listing agent you have a good working relationship with the listing agent, then the 2 of us work together to get everybody to the table, and gently, because if you try to do it with force, it's never gonna happen, and the buyer is gonna be the one that is, got the short end of the stick. So
Mhm.
that's stinks. So
Yep.
thank God the seller
Thank
came
God he
around.
came to his
Thank
senses, but it's like, don't play these games, why do they do that? They just well, I'd imagine their attorney told the seller, "You're gonna get sued if you
Maybe he
don't
had a bad
move
day.
forward."
Maybe he had a
What's
bad
that?
day.
You had a bad
Maybe
day.
he had a bad day. Maybe
Stop,
somebody
bad
peed in
day.
his Cheerios or something.
We all have bad
You
days. Come on. Come on.
know? Maybe this guy had a really bad day. He had a really bad day. You never know what happened.
Oh my
You know what I'm saying?
god. Yep.
Maybe
I
somebody
hear
did
you.
really pee in his Cheerios. It's just possible. You never know. You never know.
Okay. So,
Oh, good
all right. I
golly.
have a little buyer's remorse story here. I feel so bad when I see these stories, Jen. It just ah, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
poor buyers.
Well,
Tell me
all right, here
what, buyer's remorse, entitlement, bad decision, whatever happened here.
okay. So, here we go. I hate the house we just bought. Yet another buyer's remorse post. Okay. I wish we have bought a flip, to be honest. Now it looks like we have become the flippers because I don't want to keep this house. I'm pissed off at myself for going through with this whole ordeal. We knew we would have to do a bit of work, but every project uncovers 3 more things to do before we can even begin. I don't want the DIY life. I wanted to paint, maybe put in a new HVAC, and spend the rest of my time decorating. Now we are down the rabbit hole of multiple asbestos encapsulation projects. Ripping up floors is a lesson in pure terror. Rain/flood mitigation with a whole driveway to fix. Piece together cabinets that don't make sense. Why is there a drawer under the sink? Countertops aren't even glued down, but it's a granite countertop. And to top it off, the neighbors have a business that keeps at least 3 massive work trucks parked at all corners of the road around us. There's more, but I'm burnt out. Everything I tried to avoid has come true. I want out, and we haven't even moved in. I've cried every single day. We have 1 more month of our rental before terminating the lease, and I so want to just renew and stay here. FML. Why did I do this to myself? So, yep. Anyway,
You know what I'm
now
going to say.
go,
You know what I'm going to say.
tell me, what are you going to say?
I'm going to say like, mm-hmm, 80-20, baby. 80-20, baby. That's what I'm going to say. I'm going down the list. 80% agent, right?
Yep.
An 80% agent, or let's flip that. A 20% agent. A 20% agent, number one, would have made sure they were paying attention at the home inspection. Piece together
Hmm.
cabinets. Hello, you can see that at the home inspection.
Yeah.
Countertops that weren't attached you can see that at the home inspection.
Right.
Businesses with the neighbor has business with trucks, the agent should be doing some homework. Maybe they should do some homework, right? To
Hmm.
get to understand their neighbors. If you think that there's something there that you see one truck or whatnot, if it's in a neighborhood, well, then if it's in a neighborhood, then probably check with the zoning. But if it's not in a neighborhood, still check the zoning, but you do your homework. I mean, I always tell buyers whenever possible, drive by the house, even if it's right after the offer or whatnot, between the offer and the home inspection, you kind of get a little wiggle room, right?
Yep.
Because that home inspection is kind of your get out of jail free card.
Yep.
Drive by the house. Back up by saying, if you don't have the opportunity to do it before they offer, if things are moving super fast on your market and you
Yep.
have to make an offer sooner than you would like to before you can do their due diligence. But if the market isn't moving that fast, then drive by that house different times of the day. Always tell people to do that.
Me too.
Morning, noon, and night. So you can
Me
see the
too.
morning traffic, you can see the afternoon commuter traffic, you can see the weekend traffic, because like a business, you'd see those trucks on the weekends, right?
Hmm.
Um,
Yep.
the raining and the flooding, again, that's kind of stuff that you would hope that a good home inspector would uncover. Does the home inspector anticipate everything? No,
No.
no. But if you have a sloping driveway, that's sloping down to the house, and you can see like a driveway that doesn't uh drain well, you can there's evidence. There's
Hmm.
evidence. You're going to have sand collected, there's going to be washout areas, all the things. Like I knew that that was the situation with my house before I bought it. So that
Hmm.
eventually I had the driveway ripped up when we could afford it. It took us quite a few years. When we could afford it, we had the driveway ripped up, had a drain put in with a diverter with a trench to a low spot in the yard. No, now we have no flooding in our driveway. But I knew that when we bought it. Pay
Right.
attention. But
Right.
a lot of this stuff, you uncover it and then they can make the decision.
Yeah.
Is this, even if it's a good price, do you really wanna get into this? Is
Yep.
this something that you really wanna get into, that are you prepared to do all this work? Um, I think it's not all on the agent for sure,
Hmm.
but and we've talked about this, the buyer, when they're going into it, their emotions are like, for whatever reason, she bought the house.
Right.
All those emotions that caused her to buy the house overrode the pragmatic side, right? The
Hmm.
agent is responsible for evening the scales.
Hmm.
That's what their job is, to even that scale, to make sure that that pragmatic side, that logical side doesn't get ignored. That's what I think happened here.
Right.
So,
Yep.
yeah. And this is why you gotta interview the agents,
You have to
because
interview
you
the
should know
agents,
it.
and so here's another thing too, like,
Yes.
I just did a video today about, people have been asking me, viewers reaching out to me like, "Should I buy a house? When do you think I should buy?" And, I tell them, "I can't tell you that, but make sure before you buy a house, not only should you have your down payment, your closing costs saved, you have to have your emergency fund set aside before you go into
Mhm.
that house." Because this example right here, they started working on one problem, then it turns into three more problems. It always, always happens. You don't know what's
Yeah.
going on behind the walls, right? So whenever you you're dealing with plumbing issues, you're opening up walls, whatever, you're always going to find something else wrong, and it's overwhelming, and this is, people are getting, they're getting caught up in the expense of it all, and it's hard for people to afford their homes, right? Because
Yep.
all these repairs pop up, they're not prepared for it. So,
No, I tell people to double whatever you think it's gonna cost,
yeah.
you know?
Oh, yeah,
If
definitely put,
if
like,
you
yeah,
think it's gonna be
double
like
or put a yeah,
double it. Yep.
absolutely. Put
And
that
if
extra
it's
buffer in
if
there for sure.
absolutely. On
But
top of your regular living expenses. So if you're buying this
yeah.
house and you only have $15,000, $20,000 in the bank,
Mhm.
right? And you're like, "That's my buffer, period.
Yep.
That's my, hey, gonna pay my mortgage next month if I can't," or whatever. Like, no, that's separate. No, you have your
Yep.
budget buffer, then you have your repair buffer. 2 different
Yes.
things.
Yep.
And, I think that the house I live in was a fixer upper, but we did a home inspection and we determined because we didn't have money. We had a strong desire to do it. I mean, we're both, my husband at the time was, we were both very willing to roll our sleeves up and do the work, whatever we could ourselves,
Mhm.
not afraid of the work. But when we did the inspection, we made sure that none of it was urgent. None of it was
Right.
urgent. We had a god
Yeah.
awful 1971 powder blue floral bathroom with
Nice.
a particle board cabinet that if you put something at the bottom of the cabinet, like a roll of toilet paper, you pick up the roll of toilet paper, and then you got, like, little pieces of the particle board on the bottom of it.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
oh, yeah, it was awful, right?
Yeah.
So what do we do? I put contact paper down,
Yep.
and maybe we put a temporary fix in there, like, cut some Luan and put it in there.
Yep.
Temporary, until
Mhm.
we had the money to one day, which we did, rip it all out,
Yeah.
But it was
Right.
functional, everything was functional, and we could just chip
Yep.
away. I think a lot of, I think a lot of buyers nowadays, Jackie, like, they want the house of their dreams, they wanna make it perfect, and they don't wanna wait. It's like, we gotta do this now. We gotta do this now. I
That's
want a new kitchen. I'm gonna get it's like, you know what? The kitchen, if it's as long as it's not like a hazard and it's not dangerous, and so the cabinet doors, like, just take the doors off then. Like,
yeah.
you can survive if you think the house is a good investment, if it's got great location and great bones, right? And the
Yep.
price was good, chip away.
Right.
But
Prioritize,
I just
prioritize the
think I think
repairs.
yeah, I think they're just impatient. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Again, I think, um, walking into the whole thing after it's all said and done, because, like, think about it. When you move into a new house, it's empty, and a lot of things are exposed at that point, right? You're going to see a lot more
Yep.
stuff on the walls or the cabinets, whatever,
Mhm.
and it's kind of a shock. It's a shock when you're like,
Yep.
oh,
Well, that
I
is
didn't
true.
see
That is
that.
true.
So you have that too, and you need to take a step back. This is where an agent would be like, take a step back. This is it's you're gonna see everything now, and that's okay. That's normal.
Yep.
But I think you're right. I think it's a combination of that. They're probably just impatient. They want a newer house. Like the person said, they thought they were just gonna have to paint a few walls and focus on decorating. But look, it doesn't always work out that way. It's a house. Things are gonna go wrong. Things are gonna break.
I mean, yeah, they're talking about asbestos removal.
Yeah,
You
but
you that's not a
why
new
the heck
house.
didn't they deal with that in the inspection?
Yeah,
Like,
that's something that
that's
if that house is old enough to have asbestos, there's always unless the house was completely remodeled prior to them buying it,
mhm,
it's an old house. There's always gonna be something, right? There's always
right.
gonna be something. But
Yep.
asbestos, how do you miss asbestos? That's
Ex
hard to miss.
exactly.
That's hard to miss.
I've had home inspections where asbestos showed up. There was, like, the
Mhm.
encapsulation asbestos around, like, a pipe or whatever, and got it out. The sellers had to get rid of it. So, why did they let that happen, or why did their agent I don't know.
Yeah, they
It's
miss it.
they missed they yeah, that That's something they should have went back and fought
We
for.
don't have the
So
whole story here. That's the problem. That's the whole, and
true.
that's probably what she's conveniently leaving out. Maybe she waived a home inspection. Maybe her agent tried to talk her out of it, but
It's
she didn't.
very
She wasn't gonna.
possible. It's
I mean,
very
at the end of the
possible.
day, Jackie, our job is to advise. We can't, that if somebody wants to do it, even if we think it's a bad idea, that's not our
Mhm.
decision to make. It's
Yep.
not our decision to make. We advise them and we say, okay, you know what? If this is what you really want, I don't know that it's the best idea because of
Mhm.
XYZ, but if it's something, and no, 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 we'll find the money. I've heard that
Mhm.
before. I've
Mhm.
heard that. We'll find the money. We'll find the money. I'm not their parent.
No.
I'm not there, I'm not gonna sit there and be like, "I'm not selling to you then." It's like, it's not my job to make that
No.
decision for them. And you don't know if that was the case here either. Maybe the agent was a
Mhm.
good agent and she decided to ignore them. And
Yep.
now she's kicking herself for it.
Yep. Oh, well,
Never know.
you just
Never
either
know.
you suck it up and you go make the changes, make the repairs, and maybe eventually you'll love it, you know? So, anyway, all right. So you ready for this one? This
Yeah.
next story? This is fun.
Fire away. Fire away.
This isn't for a buyer situation. This is like current this is on the homeowners Reddit. Thought this was a
Awesome.
good story. So this is current home people have already owned their home. Okay. Um Neighbor is monitoring my wife and I. Oh, sorry. Neighbor is monitoring when my wife and I are home. What can I do? So I own
Oh.
uh-huh. Ready?
Ooh,
So
okay, okay, okay.
I own a condo slash townhome type unit, and there are renters living below me. They have been a problem since they moved in. They continuously smoke weed, which I complained to the HOA, and they didn't do anything. We have a shared front patio. They installed a ring camera that looks directly at my door. I ultimately decided to go out of the garage. I ultimately decided to go out of the garage entrance. They now installed a camera pointed directly at my garage. They can essentially now determine when I'm home and when I'm gone. This has given my wife some level of discomfort considering there's like 5 grown males living in a 2-bedroom condo. What should I do?
Mm.
So, this I saw this, and the reason this one grabbed me and I wanted to talk about it, we were just out with
This this
friends.
this this story sounds familiar.
Does it?
This story sounds familiar.
It's only
Yeah,
from 3 days ago. This is brand
really?
new. It's only from 3 days ago. Uh-huh.
Okay, maybe I'm having a
So
moment. Maybe I'm having a
so
moment
here's
then, because I feel
so,
like I've heard this story before.
but here's the thing, we have
Go ahead.
friends of
And
ours, they've lived in their house for 20 some odd years, and people next door to them bought that house next door maybe, I don't know, 2 years ago, and they shared with us that the new homeowners they have the Ring doorbell, and they put cameras around the house, in front of the house, and one of the cameras is facing the backyard of my friend's house. So now they can see my friends when they're out in their backyard, and they're like, they're not comfortable with that at all. And I'm like, well, what's the recourse? What can you do? And they said, really nothing. There's not much you can do. And even though it is a violation if you're recorded. At least that's the law here in Jersey. If somebody's recording you and you're without your knowledge, that's a problem. You can get in trouble for that. So
yep. How do
when
you
I
prove
s- when I saw this, yeah, I was thinking, maybe they can depending on what state they're in. I don't know where they are. Um, but yeah, I mean, that's just a little disturbing. Why would you be putting cameras pointing at their garage? And I get that. They know when you're coming and going. That would bother the crap out of me.
it? Same. Same, same. I don't know what I do about that.
See, I'm looking here as they're talking about the peeping Tom laws. And somebody wrote here, peeping Tom laws generally apply to private areas that aren't observable from a place where a person has a right to be. Placing a camera on the exterior of your property such that it sees a neighboring patio or garage entrance is unlikely to be considered private within that context. It says here,
Well,
OP
so
should
here's
report concerns to HOA, but purely from legal perspective, it's unlikely that any laws have been broken.
okay, so you
So,
just brought up a great point.
okay.
It's in a townhome. So that
Right.
area that's in front of the front door, that area that's in front of the garage is
Yep.
technically considered HOA property, community, common area.
Right.
Typically, it's considered
Yep.
common area. So it's not their property. They're looking at technically common area. So it's
Yep.
not violating any space,
Yep.
right? It's not,
Right.
real estate is considered, real estate law determines your plot. When you buy a house, you own on a single family, you own the ground, right? The,
Mhm.
the area, the acreage, the
Yep.
home, and you own a certain amount of space above your home, right? And I don't remember exactly how much it is, but you do own. It's not just like, oh, 8 feet, and then because of things like you have a neighbor who has a tree, and their branch is overhanging your yard. It's not
Mhm.
on your yard; it's overhanging your yard. That is an infringement on your space because you
Correct.
own up into the sky, right up, so many feet, whatever. So, but you don't own that in a townhome typically. Typically, on a townhome, you own the space from the usually it's from the studs in. So the exterior
Mhm.
structure, the outside area, it's owned by the HOA. So they don't have. I
That's
mean,
right.
I mean, I don't know.
I don't know
What
what
you
the heck
do?
they can do.
I
I
don't
don't
know what you
know.
do. I think the only thing I would probably do is put up cameras myself.
That's what people are recommending in the I'm reading the comments. They're
Yep.
saying get
I think
cameras.
'cause that's the only thing you have control
Do the
over.
same right, do the same thing. Yep. Put
Yep.
cameras so you can watch them, and you can
Well,
catch
and
them,
it's not even watching them as much as watching your own area, so
True.
that they are watching you so that to see when you're not home, you my thought process is doing it not in retaliation, but doing it as protection so that you know exactly what is going on around your property so that
Mhm.
if, for example, one of those 5 males decides to walk over to your garage door while you're there not home, well, you have a camera.
Exactly.
Now you've got a reason to file complaints and so forth because they're trying to break and enter, they're peeping in the windows or something,
Yep.
you know?
Scary.
But that's what
Scary.
I would do is put
Listen,
cameras up. That
I
sucks.
see
What the
the
heck?
benefit of the Ring doorbell, the Ring camera. I have that on my door. Like, I see the benefit of that, but, I mean, sometimes people just take this to, like, a big extreme, you know? Like,
I know.
I yeah. Anyway. Alright.
I know. Hey, I've got cameras all over my house.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
and
you know.
honestly, it's more for like, looking the wildlife. I live in a nice, safe neighborhood. I don't know. It's more of the wildlife stuff just to
Yeah,
peace of mind. You know what I
it's
mean? You hear a
okay.
thud or whatever. It's like, what is that? Oh, it's Rocky the raccoon.
Yeah.
That's
It's
what
like,
it
"Oh, it's
is.
that big bear that just ran through my yard." So, yeah.
We had uh we had a pine tree that was oh, we've taken down so many trees around our property. We only
Mhm.
have a half acre lot, but there was like the previous owners never took like hardly any. And so over the years, we had this one huge. It was probably oh 2 feet, 2.5 feet, maybe 3 feet in diameter. Uh,
Mhm.
scrub pine tree, New England, gross scrub pine tree, and it was
Mhm.
probably 20 feet from the house.
Mhm.
Close, right? And in my back window of my living room, we had a big bay window.
Right.
Well, one night, dark and everything else, we're sitting in the living room, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, is this out of my mind screeching, top of the lungs, just like this scary horror movie, not human
Mm.
screeching sound.
Mhm.
Turn the floodlights on in the backyard. And it was this ginormous raccoon wrapped
Oh.
around the tree, turned his head, looked right at us because
Eh,
he was right there. I'm like, Okay, I'm gonna turn the light off now, buddy. You can leave. Scared
Oh
the
my
crap.
gosh.
And
We
we
g
had, I remember, it was actually about, it was about a year ago, and I actually saved the footage. I had like this tribe, this gang, we call it the gang of raccoons. I think I might even post it on my Facebook page or something like that. It was like this gang of raccoons, and there was literally like five of them, and
Oh
they came to
god.
my house,
Yeah.
and I watched them. We watched them, and they came in the driveway, and they're
Oh
like
my
looking,
god.
and then they walk up the front steps, and then they kind of circle around, and then they all walked, and then they went in front of them. They're like, I'm like, oh my god, my house is getting burglarized.
Oh my god. That's so funny. That's so funny. Have
Mm.
you ever heard we have a fox. We have a couple of fox in our neighborhood, and man, when they scream, have you ever heard like, do you ever hear what a
Yeah,
fox?
they're awful.
Oh my god. Like, middle of the night, you hear the screaming, you're like, you think someone's being murdered. At one time, we would it's a couple years ago, we had one, like, right outside our bedroom window. It scared the crap out of me. I'm like, "What is that?" I'm like, "It's a freaking fox." They look cute, but man, they are, like, scary sounding. Like, "What
Yeah,
the hell? What the
they
hell?"
wildlife is scary, man,
Yes, it is.
and that goes for humans too.
Yeah.
Wildlife, humans are very scary. It can be very horrific
Ah, all right.
in the
You wanna hear another
wild.
a you wanna hear speaking of scary people, you wanna hear another agent story?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Another
Scary
another
people.
shady agent story? Let's love this. Love these stories that keep coming in. Okay. Buyer agent did a 180 since I switched from her recommended lender. Hold on to your
Oh
hats. Here we
boy.
go. I've been working with my realtor while looking at homes, and everything was great at first. She recommended a lender but also encouraged me to shop around. I ended up getting pre-qualified with her lender with a conventional loan, but the rate was higher. So I found a lower rate FHA loan with a broker. Since I chose the broker, my realtor has changed her attitude, giving the broker a hard time with choosing not to communicate with him. And when she does, it is passive aggressive from what the broker has told me. She argues that I have better chances with a conventional loan with the lender she recommended and blames my FHA for our unsuccessful offers, two so far. I'm starting to question if she's actually right, especially since I know FHA loans have stricter rules. However, I feel her behavior isn't warranted. She should be advocating for me, even with this loan being perceived as inferior to a conventional. I'm unsure if I should let her take the lead with following her recommendations. After all, she's the expert and I'm not. Or if this attitude is unacceptable and I should start the process with ending our contract. Every exchange we have makes my blood pressure rise, but I want to be sure she's right. If it matters, I wasn't really sure how I got the conventional in the first place, as my credit is sub 700. So, she goes on to say her edit. I decided to inquire with my broker on a conventional loan. As for my agent, I just sent the metaphorical breakup message. She did acknowledge it's been a rocky journey. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. So,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Uh-huh. Oh my God.
Oh boy. You know what? That is the telltale sign. Like, when, 20% agent, like, truly, it's like why would they care? Why would they
I don't
care?
care.
Now,
I don't care where you're getting your mortgage from. As long as you're getting a mortgage, you're able to pay for the darn house. You
well,
know?
and here's the thing. If somebody says, they say, "Okay, Jen, I don't know anybody. Do you have any connections?" Of course I do.
Yeah.
So I send them 2 names, and if they decide to go on their own, which happens sometimes, I say,
Mhm.
"Okay, fine. Number 1, how do you know this person?" Okay.
Yep.
And then I have a conversation with the lender, and I talk to the lender to feel the lender out, and I say, "Tell me, like, I'm representing this buyer. I need to know what is, what you're going to, what you've checked. Have you done a hard pull? Have you tried a hard
Yep.
credit check? How far are the process? Okay, great. Do you have in-house underwriting or is it outsourced? Okay, great. What is your turnaround time? What is your processing time? Like, all like, just try to get a feel for how the transaction is going to go. And if I have any red flags, I'll go back to the buyer. I'll let them know.
Yep.
And if they wanna stay with the lender, That's their prerogative. That's the
Yep.
prerogative. But I just, looking out for their best interest. Because here's the thing, what I don't get, and this is just laziness, Jackie, because we don't get kickbacks. It's a violation of our license. We are
Oh,
not
yeah.
allowed to get
Hell no.
any kickbacks. So
Nope.
for me to represent a lender, lenders don't give us any money. Insurance people, we get no kick. We are not
Nothing.
allowed to do that.
No.
Period. Okay, we lose our license. So why the hell? Why does she care? Oh, because the lender she recommends is gonna be less work because she knows what to expect. When a
Mhm.
new lender, now she's gonna make a couple extra phone calls. She's gonna make a couple
Mhm.
of phone calls, it's out of her comfort zone
Yep.
because she's actually gotta act like a freaking agent.
Yeah.
Just saying. It's
Or
freaking BS,
or the lender's a friend of
you
hers.
know?
Yeah, if the
Or
lender's a
lenders
friend or
kind of
some type of
person
relationship there.
and you never know what's happening, side deals, everything else. Is it
Yes.
possible that the lender's like, "Hey, listen, you get me this thing, I'll get you a $100 gift card," or something like that,
Right.
under the table. Is that
Yep.
possible? Of course it is.
Very
Of course it is.
possible.
Uh,
Absolutely.
but, here's the thing is that this when she said that she's supposed to be the expert, this is why I said earlier about why this all the changes with the contracts and the buyer agency contracts and why this is gonna be good for the general public, because it's shining a light on the fact that buyers need to interview buyer agents, just like you're interviewing a listing agent, and interview more than one. Even
Mhm.
if they're been referred in an interview, I was talking to somebody the other day about this, it might have been, yeah, might have been, probably was you. Um, the problem is Jackie, interviewing when you're already stressed out and you've got everybody's busy, okay? Everybody's life is complicated on different levels, and everybody's got stuff they're doing and crosses to bear and stories and all the things. So the idea of now I gotta talk to these people and I gotta call them. And you mean I actually have to have a Zoom call with all of these agents? Like like it's a pain in the butt.
Mhm.
Yep,
It
it
is.
is. It
Yep.
totally is. And you know what? If you don't care, well, then do what you do then. But
Mhm.
do not complain. Do not complain if it doesn't go your way.
Nope.
If you don't do the extra effort to protect yourself. Right? But I think
Yep.
that's the problem, and that's why a lot of people don't do that is because it is a lot of extra work, and people in general, I think, it's I mean, let's be honest, Jackie, when you gotta replace your furnace, you're like, "Ugh, I gotta get 3 estimates, I gotta call 3 plumbers, oh my god, I don't wanna do this." And you're like, "Maybe I'll just go with the first guy," and then you
Mhm.
find out, "Oh my god, I overpaid. Oh my god, I overpaid."
Yeah.
My parents are going through that right now, and I keep telling them. I mean, it's not like their daughter's been 28 years in the real estate business, but, I digress. I might not know some things, but there's no PTSD going on here. 0.
Not at all.
None
No.
at all, but they're hiring all these contractors, and they're not interviewing anybody. They're doing the main contractor that they hired, and they're basically going just on the contractors that they recommend, and that's it. And my dad's like, "I think I'm overpaying." And I'm like, "Did you call other people?" "Well, no."
No.
Oh, then you cannot complain. You cannot
N
complain,
no
you know,
way.
because you
Nope.
didn't do any homework. You didn't do any homework. It's just like your guy with the car last
Mhm.
week,
Yep.
and the thing is, like, if you didn't make the extra phone calls, you would have found out after the fact, maybe, that you could have gotten double your trade-in if you
Exactly.
had made some phone calls.
You make the
You
phone
could,
call.
but
Right.
if you didn't, you're just like, "You know what? I'll just deal with it because 'cause I'm just so busy." Because 'cause we're all busy,
Yeah.
and you just deal with it, and then you be mad,
Yeah.
right? But it's
Yep.
kinda your own fault. Even though it's kinda stinks, but it's kind of your own fault. So I kinda feel like, we don't know what she's done
Well, but
and yes,
let me
all
eh,
things, but I don't
but
know.
let me add to that. So when she was talking about the agent was trying to convince her that she shouldn't be going FHA, she should be going conventional, you know, this is where again, we get to work harder. You're advocating for your client. If that's what, and she said her credit was below sub 700, she's better off going with the FHA because she can get a better
Yep.
rate, because I'm sure with the conventional, the rate was probably higher because of her credit. So if this is what she's working with, she can only do FHA, then that's what you work with. You got to
Yep.
support that. And I understand there's a little bit of a stigma to FHA loans, and if you're when you're in a multiple offer situation, the reality is FHA loan more than likely will get ousted over conventional or cash. But
Potentially,
it,
potentially.
right,
Right?
potentially it's
You know,
happened. But
it's
the
all in
point is,
how.
right, but the agent should be looking past that, like, oh, you get an FHA, you're never going to get a house. Yeah, they will.
That's a
They will get a
question
house.
you ask when you interview an agent. That's a question you ask. Mr. and Mrs. Agent, how do you feel about FHA loans?
Yeah.
If they say FHA loans are a pain, you'll never get your offer accepted, blah, 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 blah. It's like, have a nice day.
Right.
Next agent, how do you feel
Yep.
about FHA loans? What you're looking for is an agent to say, it might be a little bit harder, but there's strategies,
Yep.
right? There's
There's ways
strategies, and it's
around
all
it.
how you frame it.
Ways around
How
it.
you
Yep.
frame it to the seller. Yep. It's all I mean, I had clients, I mean, this was going back probably 10 years ago. Um, the market was, wasn't great. Um, but I still managed. I had buyers that were no money down. And I'm talking USDA, I'm talking VA, I'm talking about, Massachusetts loans that have, like, 80/20 mortgages or 80, 15/5 mortgages, or, where it was a little bit more complicated, and they had to get grants, all these things, extra steps, extra hoops, all the things. It was all how you framed it to the listing agent,
Mhm.
and if you have
That's
an agent
exactly it.
that is local an agent that is local, that agent, if they've been in the business for a while, is gonna have connections to the agent community, Jackie, and not, and I 100% know that I've had situations where I have won offers for my clients because of the fact that the listing agent knew and we had history, and they knew that I would not be pulling punches, that if I felt confident that this buyer was a good buyer, then I wouldn't say otherwise. Like, if I'm coming to the table, it's a real buyer. If I say that because they know how type A I am, they know that I'm not, sloppy. I'm not going to miss any details. And so they went to their seller and they're like, okay, so it's a little bit more complicated, but they're, offering maybe a little bit more money. But the thing is Jen knows what she's doing.
Mhm.
Jen knows what she's doing. And I don't want you to, Mr. Seller, I don't want you to be afraid of the offer. Jackie, the sellers don't know what to be afraid of. The sellers are
Right.
like, "Oh, FHA? Is FHA bad? I don't know."
Yeah, they don't know
No,
anything about it.
listing
No.
agents. The listing
Yep.
agents are the ones that sit in front of the seller and say, "Oh, Mr. Seller, FHAs are bad." So how do you circumvent that? You have a good buyer's agent that educates the listing agent,
Exactly.
right?
Yep.
A good buyer agent will have a conversation. It's not the seller. The seller doesn't know. The seller doesn't care.
Right.
You know what the seller cares? They care about getting their money at the closing. That's all they care about,
Exactly. Same with
period.
the, yeah, with the VA loans too. I did a deal with a VA loan a while back, and they weren't putting the money down because a VA loan you can finance 100%, and they freaked out. The listing agent was like, "Oh, they're not comfortable with that." I go, "But don't you know how VA loans work? Like, don't you?" And
Mhm.
they didn't
No, they
know.
did,
They
no.
had
The
no
listing
idea. I'm like, "Oh my god, don't be like, oh, VA and,
so
putting any money down.
here's
Stop it."
another question that I would say that if you're a buyer and you have that type of a situation, ask the buyer's agent, "How are you going to present this to the listing agent?" Ask them. Like,
Exactly.
tell me exactly what you're gonna say.
Yep.
What's
Yep.
what's the dialogue? You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yeah.
And if they're like, "Well, I don't know what to do." It's like, "Okay." then they don't know themselves, and
No,
they're just winging it.
no. Yep,
I
they
you
are.
know, because this
You
stuff, it's
know.
like you don't have to be 28 years in the business. You do not. You know, an agent that really digs in and is serious about education, is serious about learning, is
Mhm.
committed to, being a student of this industry, can have an agent, 7, 8, 10 years in, can have way more knowledge than a 20 plus year agent.
Mhm.
Way more. If they, and I've met 20 plus, 20-year plus agents that I'm like, how did you survive 20 years? How did
I
you survive?
know.
You're not a
Oh
good
my
agent. How
god.
did you
I don't
survive?
know how they
You know?
how did they? Even the ones that were in it for 30, 35 years, I'm like, "God bless you. I don't know how
Mhm.
you survived that long." But
I remember last
yeah.
year, I had an agent, she's like, "Oh, I'll just fax you the offer." I'm like, "Yeah, please don't, because I don't even know what my fax number is. Thank
Are
you."
you kidding me?
She's like,
Facts.
"Well, can I just drop the offer off at your office?" I'm like, "So, yeah, I live like a half an hour away from the office. I haven't been there in 2 months." Matter of fact, nobody else does either, because everybody works remote. And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Dude, do you have email?" She's like, "Well, I don't know how to scan documents,
Oh my
paperwork."
god.
Okay, me so I said to him,
Yeah.
like, "Maybe your broker can help you."
Yeah,
Dear
that's a little
God,
frightening if they're asking to drop
dear
the offer off.
God.
Oh my god. Well, you know
Uh-huh.
what, Jen? Bottom line is not everyone is like us, you know? They're just
Thank God for that, because that
well,
would
they're
be
not
scary.
well, no, but they're people just aren't as awesome as we are. I mean, we are good agents. I'm sorry. Just gonna
I would
toot
say
my own
so.
horn.
I would
Yeah.
hire me.
I would hire me
I
too.
would hire me. I would pay me. Oh, wait, I already do. I already pay myself. And then
All
wait a
right.
minute,
Well, my
I pay
friend
myself and then I pay my agent's mortgage. How's that work? I
yeah.
hire myself and I pay my agent's mortgage. Is that a thing? Oh, wait, I buy her at groceries too.
Look at
Wow,
that.
that's
You do it all.
that's a weird
You
deal.
do it all. So, all right, my friend, that's what I have for this episode.
Is it time? Is it time?
It's time.
Oh, did it not? Oh, I think I hit the mute button by accident. Did you just hear that?
I hear it. I heard it like it got cut off.
It was me. I hit the button by accident.
There you go.
Oh, yeah, the
Oh,
buttons. That's the universe telling me stop pushing buttons.
yep. All right, my friend. So
Mhm.
that's what we got. More shady agents. Maybe next week there'll be more shady agent stories.
I think there will be, Jackie.
I think so.
Just
Yeah.
have I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know the future, but I have an idea that there might be
I
more
think
bad agent stories.
I
I
think
just have
so.
an inclination.
It's gonna be good.
Oh no. Anyways, it's called the
All right.
human condition, Jackie
Yes.
Baker.
Yes, it is.
And when it's the human condition, that's when people do dumb you know what.
Yep.
And
Yes, they
that's when we
do.
always have endless uh endless list of stories to tell. So,
Yes. It's good. More
all
content
right.
for us.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Well, thank you very much for everybody for listening.
Yes.
Have a great week. Be nice to each other. Oh, especially right now, everybody's getting a little wonky.
Yeah.
The
A
month,
little salty. People a little salty
a little
right now.
salty with the big November 5th coming. So, like,
Yeah.
be kind to each other. Seek to understand each other. Let's just respect each other's opinions.
Yes.
You don't have to agree on everything to be kind, right,
Very
Jackie?
true. Very true. Very
All right.
true. A good message.
Yep. Have a great week.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.